Finally, the wait is over. Elon Musk, the CEO of SpaceX, just announced dates for the first Starship to reach orbit this year using Raptor 2 engines. He is also rooting for Mars with this ambitious Starship project. If it goes successful, it would be a revolutionary benchmark, both for science and engineering. But how would it be possible? What is the overall agenda of Elon Musk regarding this project? And when would it reach orbit exactly? Stay tuned till the end for all the answers. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the Tech Universe. Before starting, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to get more updates on the space and tech world. That being said, let's begin. As the name suggests, we are here to share and discuss everything regarding technology, space, science, and engineering, including SpaceX and Elon Musk. So to stay up to date with the daily dose of technological advancement, subscribe to this channel now and ring the notification bell. With that being said, let's begin without wasting any more time. Elon Musk, SpaceX's chief engineer, announced on March 21 that the company plans to burn the first orbital Starship in May. Importantly, the first Starship orbital trip will be powered by Raptor 2 engines, which provide 230 tons of thrust at sea level in Moscow. By next month, we'll have 39 flight-ready engines manufactured and another month to integrate them. So, ideally, in May for an orbital flight test, he tweeted. Incremental demand may take up to 70% of the time, so there hasn't been much of a shift, and those figures don't include Starship. A basic calculation shows that a little under 16 tons multiplied by 50 launches is 800 tons, while the rest of the world, primarily China, is 400 times behind. In truth, the Raptor V2 engines have been improved. Methane-fueled Starship engines are less sophisticated yet have greater power than the Raptor's previous model. The turbomachinery chamber, nozzle electronics have been changed, as well as certain sections being removed and several flanges being replaced with welds. When it comes to power, the Raptor 2, which is disguised as a rocket engine, is a beast. This is why Raptor 2.0 will be replaced by Raptor 1. Musk reveals that each Raptor engine weighs around 1.5 times as much as Raptor 1, and that they will provide 230 tons of thrust to the Starship, whereas Raptor 1 only supported 185 pounds of thrust. However, it's ludicrous that the present maximum thrust is only used 247 times. As a result, SpaceX will be capable of achieving 250 times, more than that of Raptor 1.0, which is required to make Starship operate. One of the SpaceX Raptor 2.0 rocket engine tests was recently conducted, with the firing task being on the horizontal test. Elon Musk also stated that he is very sure that his new SpaceX Starship, which is aimed for missions to the Moon and Mars, will reach Earth orbit for the first time this year, despite a slew of technical and legal challenges. If all goes according to plan, SpaceX will reach a major milestone in its journey to Mars this year. The business is working on a massive rocket called Starship that will aid in the colonization of Mars and a range of other ambitious exploration projects. SpaceX founder and CEO Elon Musk claimed that while Starship prototypes have only made a few low-altitude jumps from Earth's surface so far, the spacecraft is on track to earn orbital wings shortly. Musk said lately, during a live-stream Starship update from Starbase SpaceX's facility in South Texas, in the Gulf Coast town of Boca Chica Village, I feel quite optimistic that we'll get to orbit this year. Starship is a spacecraft being developed by SpaceX to transport passengers and goods to the Moon, Mars, and other deep space destinations. The system comprises two components, the Super Heavy first stage rocket and the Starship upper stage spaceship. A Starship vehicle towers 390 feet above the Earth when completely assembled. That dwarfs the previous record holder, NASA's Saturn V moon rocket, which stood 363 feet tall. According to Musk, the thrust of the Starship will be more than twice that of the legendary Saturn V. Both the Super Heavy and the Starship are built to be fully and quickly reusable, a cost-cutting innovation that Musk and SpaceX think will revolutionize spaceflight and exploration. If everything goes well, each Starship vehicle would be able to launch from Earth's surface every 6 to 8 hours, and each Super Heavy will be able to launch every hour or so, on missions delivering up to 150 tons of payload to orbit, Musk claimed. With such high flight rates, permission expenses would be drastically reduced. It may be a few $1 million each trip, maybe even $1 million per flight, Musk said. By space standards, these are ridiculously low numbers. Mars colonization, a long-held objective of both Musk and SpaceX, becomes a viable possibility if Starship can even come close to those cost and cadence statistics. According to the millionaire entrepreneur, mankind will need to carry around 1 million tons of material to Mars to build a self-sustaining metropolis. Musk stated, Starship is capable of achieving it, and I believe we should endeavor to do it as quickly as possible. The window of opportunity may be open for a long time, and I hope it is, but it might also be closed quickly. SpaceX's latest Raptor engine powers the Super Heavy in Starship. Raptor was built with Mars in mind. The engine runs on liquid oxygen and liquid methane, both of which can be found on the Red Planet, according to Musk. However, if all goes according to schedule, Starship will go to the moon before reaching Mars. In 2018, SpaceX revealed that Yusaku Misawa, a Japanese billionaire, had booked a round-the-moon journey on Starship, which might fly as early as next year. It won't be Misawa's first trip into space. In December 2021, he spent nearly a month aboard the International Space Station. NASA chose Starship as the first crewed lander for its Artemis moon exploration mission in April 2021. The Artemis 3 mission, which is scheduled to launch in 2025 or thereabouts, will use the SpaceX vehicle to land NASA people on the moon. Musk's presentation on Thursday was his first in-depth Starship update in almost 2 years. He previously did it in September 2019. As a result, he had some fresh information to give. For example, Musk stated that Super Heavy will have 33 Raptors in the future, up from the previous number of 29. According to Musk, the final Starship vehicle would likely get a power bump as well, going from 6 Raptors to 9. He spoke in front of Booster 4 and Ship 20, the fully stacked Starships that will execute the program's maiden orbital test flight. SpaceX hopes to have the spacecraft ready to fly by the end of the month when the United States Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, completes its environmental review of Starbase. Musk expressed confidence that the FAA will not propose producing a lengthy and time-consuming environmental impact statement, and that the assessment will go SpaceX's way, EIS. However, if the government decides that an EIS is required, SpaceX has a few flying choices. According to Musk, the business already has the required clearances to launch Starship from NASA's Kennedy Space Center, KSC, in Florida, though it still needs to construct a launch and catch tower there. By dropping freshly launched Super Heavy rockets down directly on the launch platform, SpaceX hopes to increase Starship flight rates. I believe our worst-case scenario is that we have to wait 6 to 8 months to build up the Cape Launch Tower and launch from there, he added, referring to Cape Canaveral in Florida. And Starbase and KSC won't be the only Starship launch sites. SpaceX is turning 2 former deepwater oil rigs into offshore launch platforms known as Phobos and Deimos, named after the 2 moons of Mars. The company aims to have a full launch capability on one of the platforms, as well as at Starbase and KSC, by the end of the year, Musk said. Starship's first few orbital flights may not go entirely according to plan. A crash year, and there in the program's early test campaign is to be expected, Musk said. We'll probably lose a few vehicles along the way. With Falcon 9, I think it took us 14 or 15 attempts to successfully land the first booster, he said, referring to SpaceX's workhorse Falcon 9 rocket, which has aced nearly 100 booster landings to date. And Starbase and KSC won't be the only places where Starships will be launched. SpaceX is converting 2 decommissioned deepwater oil rigs into offshore launch pads named after Mars' 2 moons, Phobos and Deimos. By the end of the year, Musk added, the business hopes to have a complete launch capability on one of the platforms, as well as at Starbase and KSC. The initial few orbital flights of Starship may not go exactly as planned. A few crashes are to be expected during the program's early test campaign, Musk added. Along the road, we'll most likely lose a couple of automobiles. I believe it took us 14 or 15 tries with Falcon 9 to safely land the first booster. He was referring to SpaceX's workhorse Falcon 9 rocket, which has successfully landed roughly 100 boosters. I don't think we'll need that many with Starship because we've done it before, he remarked. However, it's far from assured that it will work the first time. Until now, that is. After all, Raptor 1's story will come to a terrible conclusion. Even if they don't end up flying, they gave SpaceX a lot of information. However, SpaceX is doing what is best for humanity's future multiplanetary life. Rather than rushing a Tesla, it makes more sense to fly a more mature vehicle. Let's take a look at SpaceX. That's all there is to it for today's episode. Tell us your thoughts on today's video in the comments box. Also, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click the bell button. We'll catch you in the next one. Until then, peace.